The night I caught my wife betraying me, I didn't scream, throw punches, or demand answers. I simply picked up my car keys, walked out the front door, and drove into the darkness with tears blurring the road ahead. I thought leaving that house would end the worst night of my life. I had no idea I was driving straight toward a truth buried for nearly 30 years. By sunrise, everything I believed about my marriage, my family, and even my own identity would collapse in ways I never imagined. Looking back now, my wife's betrayal wasn't the end. It was the beginning. I had been married to Emily for 6 years. We weren't perfect, but I believed we were happy. That illusion shattered when I returned home early from a business trip after my meeting was cancelled. The lights upstairs were on, soft laughter echoed through the hallway, and my heart sank before I even opened the bedroom door. There she was, holding another man like I had never existed. She begged me to listen, but I couldn't hear a single word over the sound of my own heartbeat. Without saying anything, I grabbed a small bag, left my wedding ring on the dresser, and walked away forever. I had nowhere to go except my best friend Daniel's house. We'd been friends since middle school, the kind of brothers life chooses instead of blood. Daniel opened the door without asking questions, took one look at my face, and silently hugged me. His mother, Linda, greeted me with warm concern, while Daniel's Aunt Margaret insisted I stay as long as I needed. Their kindness felt almost unreal after the nightmare I'd just escaped. For the first time in hours, I felt safe. I believed the worst was finally behind me. I couldn't have been more wrong. Over the next few days, I barely spoke. Daniel tried distracting me with movies and long drives, but my thoughts kept circling back to Emily's betrayal. One evening, I walked into the kitchen for a glass of water and froze when I heard Linda and Margaret whispering in the next room. My name drifted through the cracked doorway. "He deserves to know," Margaret said softly. Linda answered with a trembling voice. "If we tell him now, everything will change." My heart pounded. They were talking about me, and whatever they were hiding sounded far bigger than my failed marriage. The following morning, Linda invited me to sit with her on the back porch. Her hands trembled as she placed an old wooden box on the table between us. Inside were faded photographs, yellowed hospital papers, and a silver necklace with a tiny engraved date. "Before you judge us," she whispered, "please let me finish." She explained that 31 years earlier, 2 newborn boys had been accidentally switched in a small county hospital during a chaotic electrical blackout. One baby was raised by my parents. The other grew up in this very house. My entire world stopped spinning. I stared at Daniel in complete disbelief. He looked just as stunned as I felt. Linda admitted she and Margaret had recently discovered the truth after finding old medical records while settling their late father's estate. They secretly ordered DNA tests months earlier, hoping the results would prove they were mistaken. Instead, the reports confirmed the impossible. Daniel was my biological brother, not just my lifelong friend. The family had delayed telling us because they feared destroying both families. Ironically, my wife's betrayal had forced me into the one place where the truth could finally find me. As shocking as that revelation was, Margaret quietly admitted there was something even worse. During her search through old documents, she discovered letters exchanged between my late father and the hospital administrator. Someone had realized the babies were switched only days after birth. Instead of correcting the mistake, powerful people covered it up to avoid lawsuits and public scandal. My parents never knew. Daniel's parents never knew. A handful of hospital officials chose reputation over 2 innocent families. Their decision stole 3 decades of memories that could never be replaced. Determined to uncover everything, Daniel and I visited the abandoned hospital archives with permission from the county records office. Hidden inside dusty storage boxes were forgotten employee journals and maintenance reports from the blackout night. One retired nurse had secretly documented every detail, fearing the truth would someday matter. Her handwritten diary confirmed the deliberate cover-up and even named the administrators responsible. As we read each page, our anger slowly replaced confusion. My marriage had collapsed only days earlier, yet somehow I had stumbled into exposing one of the darkest secrets our town had ever buried. News of the discovery spread faster than we expected. Local reporters surrounded the courthouse as lawyers reopened the decades-old case. Families across the county began questioning whether similar mistakes had happened during those years. Meanwhile, Emily suddenly started calling me non-stop. She claimed she regretted everything and wanted another chance. But after everything I'd learned, her betrayal felt strangely small compared to the truth unfolding around me. For the first time since leaving our house, I realized my future no longer depended on the person who had broken my heart. The legal process lasted nearly a year. DNA evidence, archived records, and witness testimony proved beyond doubt that the hospital had knowingly concealed the switch. Both families received official apologies and financial settlements, but no amount of money could replace birthdays, childhood memories, or the chance to grow up with the right parents. Still, Something beautiful emerged from the tragedy. Daniel and I remained best friends, but now we also embraced each other as brothers. Our parents chose love over resentment, refusing to let the hospital's deception destroy the family we had built. Months later, I finally met Emily one last time to finalize our divorce. She expected to see the broken man she had abandoned. Instead, she found someone who had survived unimaginable heartbreak and discovered an entirely new family in the process. She apologized through tears, admitting she never expected me to rebuild my life so completely. I wished her well, signed the final documents, and quietly walked away. Revenge had never healed me. The truth had. Sometimes losing the person you trusted most makes room for discovering the people who truly belong in your life. Today, Daniel and I celebrate every birthday together with both families under one roof. Linda still insists on cooking my favorite meals, while Margaret jokes that fate had to create the biggest disaster imaginable just to bring her real nephew home. I often wonder what would have happened if my wife had never betrayed me. I probably would have lived my entire life without knowing the truth. Pain drove me away from one house, but destiny led me to another. Sometimes life's cruelest moments quietly guide us toward the greatest blessings we never knew existed. If there's one lesson I've learned, it's that betrayal doesn't always mark the end of your story. Sometimes it's the painful door that opens to a truth greater than anything you ever imagined. I lost a marriage, but I found a brother. I lost trust, but I gained an entire family. I lost the future I had planned, only to discover the life that was always waiting for me. Looking back, I no longer remember that night as the moment everything fell apart. I remember it as the night everything finally began.